how do you start with someone? You take them kind of as they are, and they come to you and say, "Look, I'm a pretty good lawyer. I just don't have any clients, or I don't have enough clients, or we got a nice law firm here, but only half of us are busy half of the time." You know, how do you tip? What do you typically do with them?
Client generation has three parts. The first part is the funnel, which is the place where you send your leads to. Okay, depending on what niche or practice type you're in, there's different funnels that could work for that. For example, for estate planning lawyers need to educate their dream clients about how whatever they're going to offer them is beneficial for their life. So there's this very specific funnel that does education, and then that pushes them to do a scheduled call. So first is, again, depending on your practice type, choose the right funnel. Second is, again, depending on which practice type you are, figuring out where you're getting clients from. So what's the source, or in marketing terms, what's the traffic source of your potential clients that you're going to get leads from for your funnel. So there's a couple of big ones. Let me just give you a short summary. Usually for
Sure,
most lawyers,
sure.
it's either going to be Google ads or Facebook ads, or if you're going to be doing some organic marketing like YouTube or Facebook groups and Quora, things like that. So I basically
Right.
help lawyers depending on what niche they're in, depending on what they're like. Um, then I help them choose one of those right client sources. And the third part, great, you got your leads, you got the infrastructure to kind of bring the leads to, but you also need the automation to automatically text the leads, to also email the leads, to get them to be a scheduled call. And also after they are scheduled call, make sure that they show up. And also after they do show up, get them to see your testimonials and get their objections answered and get them to actually be signed up clients. So all those three components has automations, emails, and text set up to push them towards getting them to be a retained signed client. So you need all three parts. If you're missing any of those parts, you're going to kind of you're not going to have a full-on reliable consistent system that gets you clients. So those are the three kind of parts that I teach: the funnel, the traffic, and the automation.
Okay. And so one thing that we run into, we are a systems and processes company, and so we try to install marketing systems, frankly, in firms more a little bit larger. And what I typically hear, and I'd love to get your feedback about this, is that, oh, well, digital marketing or automation or those things, those are great for, small solo firms that have primarily consumer oriented practices, where, you're trying to reach out and maybe get personal injury cases, or you're trying to reach out and maybe, do estate planning. But we market to high end corporations, and these principles really don't work. What do you think of that?
It's a limiting belief because I also had the same limiting beliefs. Is this whole online stuff that I'm learning, how does this apply to business formations? How does this apply to PI? And I kept, for many years, I struggled with that question. How does this apply to this? But the funnel and the whole system is kind of like the backbone system that could be applied to anything in the world, as long as your clients have specific problems that you need to address and you can serve them. This is kind of like the system to get those clients. And I could share a story with you. I was at the
Sure.
ClickFunnels conference to receive my first two Comma Club awards. This is for generating
Yeah, we're
$1 million
going to
online.
talk about those at the
Yeah.
end. Those are
For
fun.
my basically for generating $1 million. And before you receive this award, they put you in a room of all the people who were receiving this award. And I look around, there was 300 people that year that basically made $1 million online, and they were receiving an award for it. I'm like, this is so cool. This is like one of the most magical moments of my life, because anybody that I talked to is quote unquote successful, or at least had a business that did $1 million. So we're in a small group and we went around. So what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And we finally get to this kid. He looked like 18, 19 years old. And we're like, what do you do? And he started like giggling, like kind of like being a little shy and nervous to share what he does. I'm like, no, really, like, what do you do? He's like, I teach moms how to breastfeed. I teach moms how to breastfeed. Imagine, in my eyes, there's like a 19-year-old guy that teaches moms how to breastfeed, and he made $1 million online. And that moment, it was the epiphany for me. I'm like, if this kid can do $1 million online teaching moms how to breastfeed, let alone the lawyers that could serve their clients with much big problems, big market that that we can do it using this funnel system for our own law firms. That's when I realized the legal market hasn't really caught on to these things. As long as you have problems that you can address, you could serve those clients, then this funnel system will be the gateway, the way to get those clients.